Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Just to remind everyone, we are doing a screening at Act 1 Cinema in Acton on the 30th of October. We've got, how many? About 30-something tickets left.
Yep.
Yeah,
we're about halfway.
Yes,
pull your fingers out, creeps.
Come and be insulted in the flesh by John Poutney and myself and James, and we will be watching Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. Got the DVD in front of me to remind me what it was called.
Unless we're stopped by the burgers of London town.
Yeah. Yes. 99% chance we will be watching Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, if not another Hammer
if
film.
Not, we'll act it out.
Yeah, we will give John a sex change live on stage, and then afterwards we will be doing a live podcast for you.
Brilliant,
and hopefully not offending anyone.
And we've never done that before. You would be joining in a unique experiment.
Yeah, we've done a live show, but not a live
post-film debrief.
But yes, exactly. So come and see that. That'd be fantastic. It'd be really good to see you. Yeah, and the links are in the show notes.
What does that mean?
So whenever you get a podcast, I know John doesn't listen to a podcast, but when you get the podcast, there's a load of notes about what's in the episode.
Excellent.
And there is a link in there.
I thought James had to read something out, like the link now.
www.generalwitchfinders.com and then
/extra.
Are we ready to do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Brinton, an ancient kingdom with legends of violence, cruelty, and torment in its blood. Join your hosts, Ross, John, and James, as they bravely tread where few would dare. Witness their journey into the horrific history of British horror. They are the General Witchfinders.
Ladies and gentlemen, goblins and ghouls, welcome back to the 72nd episode of the General Witchfinders podcast. Yes?
I was just going to say, maybe we could do number 73 for the 73rd episode.
Did they do a horror crossover?
Well, they must have done a Halloween episode where Toxvig got trapped inside a wardrobe and had to turn it into a... Yeah.
I was about to say, that was a horror.
We'll have to beat that out. I don't know if that's been proven in a court of law.
Sorry. Right, okay. Yep. So, I'm James in Bournemouth in southern England.
I'm John Poutney playing the flute for all you cute people out there in South Walesville.
And I'm Ross in Dorchester in southern England. And this time we uncovered the conspiracy of alternate free. Was it alternate free?
Alternative free.
Of alternative free.
Lovely.
No, 3, Cleves, not free.
Alternative 3.
Lovely. Right. So, also, Ross, you're going to, normally at this point, Ross would, of course, put the entire trailer on if you bloody like it or not. So now what are you going to do?
Trailer.
6 minutes of the horror of Dracula. A man screaming through his own anus.
Bad Foley sound effects of people running on gravel.
Normally, some African drums.
Yeah. Right.
I will hope. I don't know. Maybe I could. Maybe there'd be some kind of
There is no trailer clips.
There is no trailer. But I'll just play 40 minutes of Brian Eno.
Nice.
It would just be a continuity. It would be the in-vision continuity of Anglia TV.
Anglia.
So you could play the Anglia music with the
man with the little horse.
The crow man and the flag. Yeah, I used to love that. Yeah,
okay.
Right.
And John, do you want to do the continuity announcer?
And now on Anglia Television, a sci-fi step into the unknown with Alternative 3.
They never told us much. Just that Robert, my brother, had got this grant to do some kind of work out there. That's the last we heard. It's not knowing that's the worst.
So, our Summer of Strange continues, where, just for the summer months, we are stepping away from our usual Hammer, Amicus, Vampires and Monsters to bring you a seasonal selection of weirdness. Perfect listening while the UK sizzles through a climate emergency.
To death.
Which is very apt based on what we're going to be covering today.
It's wild, isn't it? Watching this, I was like, oh, God.
And for the person who emailed me the other day to tell me there isn't a climate emergency outside the fucking window.
Listen to another podcast, friend.
The allotment behind my house was on fire the other day, and I look at stuff like Threads and X, whatever it's called now, Twitter, and I'm like, you're all fucking idiots. Like, your house would be on fire, and you'd still be sat there, arms folded, like, oh, it's just another 1976, isn't it?
We have had Pendersfen, which everyone seems to have universally loved, bringing in loads of downloads and lovely comments. So go and listen if you haven't already. And My Department X spin-off episode about parapsychology mania in the 1970s. And likewise, thank you everyone who's taken the time to listen to that and to comment. Meant a lot. Part 2 is on its way. So, but here we're looking at Alternative 3, which was a British television mockumentary concerning government conspiracies, which inspired much speculation and interest by proponents of fringe ideas. Presented as an edition of an Anglia series science report, and just to point out once again, our non-British viewers
and people who are any younger than us,
any younger than 50, right? But in Great Britain, the non-BBC channels or ITV are split up into the different regions. So the Southwest, London, the Midlands, Yorkshire, they each had their own individual TV region.
And it was fucking brilliant.
So this is how this spanned me out, kind of blew my mind as we were watching it. So what we're about to watch and talk about was just made by basically a local TV channel.
It's wild.
Yeah, and east of England.
In the east of England, in the fens, out in the flat. Yeah. Incredible. So yes.
I looked up some other things which Anglia made, which are touchstones for us. Nightmare, made them, which is the a sort of alternate reality. What was it called?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. On the what's it when you wear glasses
VR.
and you can see VR? But there's another word for it. So I told you I can't remember any words. They made Tales of the Unexpected.
Did they?
And they made a TV series called GoldenEye, which was The Secret Life of Ian Fleming.
Oh yeah, I remember
Charles Dance.
Yeah, Charles Dance playing
I remember that.
Ian Fleming.
Also, as a part of that era, that's important to us is Children of the Stones, which is HTV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's that was HTV West, cool, not HTV Wales. So
I want to look into why was there a London weekend television? Why was there a different channel just for the weekend?
Oh, I did read a description of this many years ago. Because that's how Danny Baker got his start.
Yes,
I remember. I think, like in Danny Baker's autobiography, he explains why. But anyway, I can't. It's really mundane, Ross.
The sets were always very identifiable, like the set from Blind Date. That was LWT. Stars in Their Eyes.
And it became Carlton, didn't it? Carlton was London Weekend Television. Anyway, sorry, this is really, really boring once again for anyone under the age of 50.
No, I'm just ordering a London.
Going to love this, James.
Yes, I'm just ordering an LWT t-shirt.
Nice LWT. Along with Thames. LWT, they had Thames and they had Euston Films. Euston Films produced Quatermass 4, which might be our next episode.
Oh, yes. Okay. Right.
So back to it. So
back to the very long script.
So
Lord, really?
Well, I'll try and get through it as quickly as I can, as always, people. Don't worry. Right, the good thing is, and again, this is going to be part of my recommendation for why everyone should watch this, is it is only 50 minutes long.
Yes.
It's short.
It was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a third of the length of this podcast.
There you go. At the moment. Right, so So it's presented as an edition of the Anglia series Science Report, and it purports to be an investigation into the UK's contemporary brain drain. Alternative 3 describes a plan to... I disagree with this, Ross. Ross has put, Alternative 3 describes a plan to make the Moon and Mars habitable in the event of climate change. I would say that it's just that their plan to take the cream of people from planet Earth and go and live on Mars. The moon, but
yes, but they're to make Mars habitable, and they were making Earth a stepping stone to Mars.
The moon,
yeah, making the moon a stepping stone.
But they'd like anyway. Okay, right. So
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Right. So the program was originally meant to be aired on the 1st of April, April Fool's Day, and it says so at the end. But its broadcast was delayed until the 20th of June. Having aired once in the United Kingdom, Alternative 3 was later aired in Australia, Canada, and New Zealand.
No way.
Yeah. It was made with film stock used at the time to make it appear like a conventional documentary program. Apart from the presenter, Tim Brinton, all the characters were played by actors who were explicitly credited at the end. So, as often with things like this, they don't try and hide the fact that what you've just seen isn't real. But yeah.
People still are fake.
Oh, yes. Yeah. However, in 1978, a tie-in non-fiction book written by Leslie Watkins and David Ambrose and Christopher Miles appeared from Spear Books of London. An American edition, also marketed as non-fiction, appeared from Avon Books. Listen to my Department X spin-off for more on those guys, with the title stylized as Alternative 003. The novelization added further detail to many of the claims presented in the show with some changes. Rather than the fictional astronauts like Bob Grodin, it included bogus quotes from real ones such as Buzz Aldrin and Edgar
Mitchell.
That is amazing.
That's wild.
How they didn't get sued into oblivion.
I want to find a copy of this. If it hasn't been taken, have we seen what's happening with all these secondhand books?
Yes.
Yeah, well, all these big secondhand book companies are getting huge orders for all their books being shipped off somewhere, and they reckon they're using them to train AI.
Yes.
But AI is they have to destroy the books in order to do it. So all of these secondhand books are just disappearing off to somewhere.
Hay-on-Wye has disappeared. I went there the other day and it was just fields.
It's been eaten by a massive bertha.
Yeah. Right.
That's quite a good idea for a short story, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So instead of the astronauts discovering primitive life on Mars, they discover a breathable atmosphere. The book further claimed that the conspirators had been engaged in shipping staff to a secret base on Mars, abducting potential workers to use as slaves. Although, once again, I would suggest that the program itself suggests this. The broadcast spawned broader cultural references and theories. Jim Keith's casebook on Alternative 3, UFOs, Secret Societies, and World Control, argues that some elements of the broadcast were, in fact, true.
Oh, give over.
A character in Richard Linklater's film Slacker, portrayed by Jeremy Deloney, claims that Alternative 3 is absolutely true and that humans have been on Mars since 1962. Do you watch Slacker if you've never seen Slacker?
Oh, man.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's good.
It's driving me mad.
Additionally, The Man in the Moon, an episode of the American radio science fiction anthology Dimension X, no relation to my spin-off, features a similar story. Here, an employee of the fictional United States Bureau of Missing Persons overhears a radio broadcast from a man who claims to be held prisoner on the moon. The employee investigates and uncovers the kidnapping of many persons, including scientists and engineers, who were then forced to toil on the moon by German overseers who had colonized the moon in the late 1930s and are preparing an invasion and takeover of the Earth. And then there is Nazis on the moon. They made that movie, didn't they? Yeah. I remember that. I've never seen it, but I was aware it exists. The script was written by David Ambrose. Ambrose is a writer and director known for DARYL, or Daryl.
Oh, I remember that one. Data Analog Youth Robot Lifeform.
Very good, John. Well done. A science fiction drama about a super intelligent 10-year-old android boy named Daryl, data analyzing robot youth lifeform. And The Final Countdown, where a modern aircraft carrier is thrown back in time near Hawaii.
I loved that one as well.
Yeah, just hours before the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
Fuck, I loved both those films.
Yeah, I can remember getting both of these out from the video shop. Yeah. I remember Daryl being thinking this is amazing because he got to fly a jet and stuff.
Yeah.
It's basically Joe 90.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the Final Countdown, that is based on. Hold on, sorry for the
Philadelphia Experiment.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and in the play of Stranger Things, they say that's what started the whole Stranger Things thing. Was the Philadelphia Experiment.
Yeah. And of course, that's all the Montauk boys as well, isn't it? Oh, we're getting so into my area of interests here. Anyway, right. So back to it. Also, he wrote Taffin, starring Pierce Brosnan as a rural Irish debt collector who protects locals while confronting corrupt officials.
If you're an Adam and Joe fan, you'll know what.
And I'm going to.
I've never heard of it.
It features a very famous bit of Pierce Brosnan acting, and I'm going to get back from the mic a little bit because otherwise it will blow your ears out. You ready? And he goes, "Well, then maybe you shouldn't be living here," like that.
Happened on a previous episode, and John said he'd never heard of it at that point as well.
I've never heard of this thing.
Yeah.
And also, he wrote The Survivor, the James Herbert adaptation we covered back in episode 46. What a career, David Ambrose.
He wrote the film
The Survivor.
Yeah, the screenplay of The Survivor, which we watched.
But remember, that had been butchered, hadn't it? He wasn't very happy.
And that's why we were talking about Taffin previously.
Oh, yes. Wonderful.
Well,
okay,
the version of the film I watched didn't help, where loads of it had been cut out.
So it was directed by Christopher Miles. Miles also directed the episode Neck of Tales of the Unexpected, as well as The Six-Sided Triangle, which was Academy Award nominated. That film features a husband who comes home and finds his wife with her lover, showing how 6 different countries, including England, Japan, Italy, and France, might tell the story in their own particular style. On a personal, yes, sort of like Rashomon, but like a sex comedy, I guess.
Yeah, and some of the ways people were dressed look very stereotypical and maybe not.
It hasn't aged well, as we said.
No, it didn't look like it from the pictures I saw online.
Okay, so on a personal note, it says that Miles is the brother-in-law of Robert Bolt, who wrote the screenplays for Dr. Zhivago and Lawrence of Arabia. Heavyweights. So, music was supplied by the legend that is Brian Eno, with a portion of his score being released on his album Music for Films. Now, Eno is, of course, if you don't know who Brian Eno is, he's an English musician, songwriter, record producer, visual artist, sound designer, author, and political activist. He's a great guy. He is best known for his pioneering contributions to ambient music and electronica, and for producing, recording, and writing works in rock and pop music. Born in Suffolk, Eno studied painting and experimental music at the Art School of Ipswich Civic College in the mid-1960s, and then at Winchester School of Art. He joined the glam rock group Roxy Music as their synthesizer player and recorded 2 albums with them before departing. In Roxy Music, Eno did not initially appear on stage at their live shows, operating with the group's mixing desk at the center of the concert venue where he had a microphone to sing backup vocals. Nice. What a win.
Way.
Yeah. After the group secured a record deal, Eno joined them on stage playing the synthesizer and became known for his flamboyant androgynous costumes and makeup. partly
And
stealing the
his
spot.
baldness.
Yes, partly stealing the spotlight from lead singer Brian Ferry. After the tour in support of For Your Pleasure ended, Eno quit the band, citing disagreements with Ferry. And, their appearance doing Virginia Plain on Top of the Pops is one of those kind of, moments in British culture, which is endlessly like pastiched and riffed on, like Dick and Bob did a thing about it and all that. Anyway, right. Eno collaborated frequently with other musicians, including Robert Wyatt, Robert Fripp, mainly as part of the Fripp and Eno collective. Robert Fripp, of course, husband of Toyah Willcox. Harmonia, Cluster, the great Harold Budd. Those albums are wonderful. David Bowie, of course, also amazing. John Cale and David Byrne. He also established himself as a sought-after producer, working on albums by John Hassel. Ross, did we really need all of this? Larage, Burns Talking Heads, Ultravox and Devo, as well as the No Wave compilation, No New York. Eno continued to record solo albums and produced artists such as U2, Coldplay, Peter Gabriel, Daniel Lanois, Laurie Anderson, Grace Jones, Slowdive, Carl Hyde of Underworld, James, Kevin Shields, and Damon Albarn. Mark Malmalud and Eric Gavur.
Sorry, I might have put that in just to trip you up on reading it. I'm sorry. Carry on.
So it's Mark Malmalud and Eric Gavrilik. It's spelled, people at home, so you can all have a go. Gavril, so like Vril, Gavriluk. Eric Gavriluk. Bonkers. Approached Eno to compose the music for Windows 95. The result was the 6-second startup music, the Windows 95 operating system. Eno later admitted that he created it using a Macintosh computer. Ho, ho, ho. Stating, I wrote it on a Mac. I've never used a PC in my life. I don't like them. Microsoft Sound was selected for preservation in the National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress for culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. An alternative,
just like our podcast has been,
by
the British Library in the National Sound Archive. Yeah.
What is the sound of a PC?
I don't know. I don't have a PC.
The Mac is just like,
which I used to run through a massive amplifier at college to make the table shake would be turned over.
What did you say it was, James? Do you think?
It's one of those things.
It's not like
yeah. Anyway, yeah. Come on.
I probably played it at this point, so the listeners would have heard it.
Yeah, right. So Russ was put an alternative soundtrack for this film by members of Ad N to X, Stereolab, and Hairy Butter was released on Low Recordings.
Ooh, Hairy Butter?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Right. I saw a man eating chips in Weymouth today with nearly his whole arse hanging out.
And then I realised I was looking in a mirror, says Ross. No, sorry. Oh, no, not anymore, Ross. Now he's all slimmed down.
Was he just stuffing them straight into his arse?
They're just coming straight out and seagulls are eating them.
Jesus, let's move on.
That's
Come
a very Terry Gilliam-esque.
Yes.
Vision.
So, cast-wise, Tim Brinton played himself as the presenter. He was a real-life newscaster, an announcer with BBC and ITN News, and a Conservative politician who played himself in a number of fiction films, including Carry On Emmanuel, if you're going to be in one.
Good Lord.
Dixon of Dock Green, Doctor in Charge, and The Avengers. And that's the British Avengers, not the Marvel Comics Avengers. Gregory Munro plays Colin Benson. He was in the sitcom about mixed-race relationship, Mixed Blessings, where he played the son of his screen mother, Carmen Munro, who was the Queen in Ace of Wands. He was also Freya in the Doctor Who serial, The Enemy of the World. Now, Shane Rimmer plays the American astronaut Bob Brody. This was not his first time in a rocket, being the voice of Scott Tracy, pilot of Thunderbird 1. Oh, that's a good find.
Yeah.
And he appeared in Superman and Superman 2. Obviously, they were filmed at the same time. And Superman 3, playing a different character in each film. He was in 3 different James Bond films, You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Are Forever, and The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yes.
Heavy Roger Moore. Heavy Roger Moore.
Yeah.
He is the only actor to appear in both the Christopher Reeve Superman films and Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Who was he in the Dark Knight trilogy?
I'm not sure. All right. But he was in it, yeah.
All right,
that's good, isn't it? Fair play to him.
Yeah, good shout. Right,
Very recognisable actor.
He appeared in the dreadful Anton Deck movie Alien Autopsy, which is something that both of them, I like to think, are constantly trying to expunge from their careers, and we should never let them. He also played Joe Donnelly in Coronation Street and returned as a different character, Malcolm Reed. This guy's got form. He was in an episode of Hammer House of Mystery and Suspense, 2 episodes of Tales of the Unexpected, has an uncredited role in Star Wars, A New Hope, the original Star Wars. But although I'd be interested to see who, I'm guessing maybe, somebody in the cantina, but possibly.
Yeah, or someone in the Empire on the Death Star.
Yeah.
Maybe sitting around the conference table.
With Don Henderson.
Yeah. And he also appeared in Rollerball, Space 1999, and Dr. Strangelove. He even wrote episodes of the aforementioned Joe 90, Captain Scarlet, the best Super Marionation show. Captain Scarlet is insane.
It used to really scare me.
Aesthetically, it's amazing. Anyway,
it's just when he was just sort of fall off like the tallest building in the world and just be there.
And then dead. They would show you dead. And then, I'm all right, guys, because I can't be killed.
But you can still feel pain.
Yeah.
So every week,
remember, Captain Scarlet is immortal. You are not. Was the warning the stern warning they used to read at the end. Amazing.
With him grappling with a shark in a painting.
That's right. And the walls, with the spiked walls closing in on him. Amazing. I just got to do a Captain Scarlet spin-off podcast. Anyway, stop it.
Yeah.
Right. And the Protectors. Now, Richard Marner played Dr. Karl Gerstein, a Russian-born stage and screen actor who usually played a military man in lots of spy thrillers and war films. He was born Alexander Molchanov in Petrograd, the eldest son of Colonel Paul Molchanov and the Semenovsky Regiment. God, Ross is putting me through this tonight.
Sorry,
that's all right. His family left Russia via Finland. And again, I'm not sure the listener needs to know all of this, but here we go. His family left.
I just like hearing what amazing lives people have.
Okay, so his family left Russia via Finland and Germany, finally ending up in London, where Alexander's grandmother had a house in Harley Street. Educated at Monmouth School, he became an assistant to the Russian tenor Vladimir Rosing at Covent Garden, where my
life!
Where my sister used to work for a while at the Opera House at Covent Garden. After joining the RAF and being invalided out, he turned into Richard Marner and started his long career and stage as a film actor. His first success was playing Count Dracula in the stage version of Dracula. He continued working in theatre while appearing in films, with a small part in The African Queen being one of his first. He continued with roles in plenty of films, usually playing a German or Russian officer. He acted in classic films such as The Dirty Dozen, The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, and The Boys from Brazil. He had a part in James Bond's You Only Live Twice and appeared in The Children of the Damned, something which we will cover one day, Ross says. And I said that in a weird way. So something we will need to cover one day, Ross says. While working as an actor, he supplemented his income by working as a sales agent for a costume jewelry manufacturer. Marner played, and here we go, this is where I imagine some of our listeners will know him from, Marner played the part of Colonel von Strom in the British comedy classic Hello, Hello, appearing in every single episode over its 10-year run. Yes.
He made some money there, didn't he?
Which was his most famous and loved performance as an actor. And I didn't realise that was him till the second time he watched it. I thought, well, hang on a minute, I recognise this guy. And
he didn't have cheese in his ears. That's why he didn't.
That's right. Now, his last film was The Sum of All Fears, where he played the Russian president. David Baxt plays Harry, an informant who seems to be infected with some strange virus to stop him giving evidence to the film crew. Now, Baxt plays Bruce Wayne's father in Batman. Whoa!
1989 version.
Whoa! Cool.
Jack Nicholson.
Yes. Ricky in Seminoid. Can we ever get John to watch that? It would be another extra. The listeners would love it. And
literally just by the title, it just sounds shite.
He was in The Shining, which I think that's ringing a bell. He played Morgan Evans. He played Morgan Evans in 4 episodes of The Tomorrow People, and he was a burglar in Superman. And Ross has put, is that the cat burglar? And I think yes, the guy with the suction caps going on the side of the building. Yes. Amazing.
And the best bit of any superhero film
the montage.
Ever, his first night montage. In Metropolis.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Agree. He was also in something called The Boy Who Won the Pools, which is ringing a bell in the back of Ross's brain. And he wonders if James and John remembers it. No.
Do you remember this? It was about some kid who won loads of money and he went to live in a in a mansion with his family, and they were just spending it on like massive parties and like Ferraris and all that kind of stuff.
No, it sounds like a Children's Film Foundation.
I was going to say that to me sounds like The Legend of Tim Tyler. Where
it had vibes of Supergram. I think it was the same kind of production values as Supergram.
Vibes
of Supergram.
And then finally,
always disappointed by Supergram.
Not quite as good as Teabag.
And T-shirt. Sorry. I was about to say, although Supergram, theme tune by Billy Connolly.
Yes.
So finally, Ivor Roberts, who plays George Pendlebury, one of the missing scientists, was also in last month's featured film, Pender's Fen. As we mentioned then, among his better-known roles were in the characters of Arnold Thomas in the television series Dr. Beeching, and Mr. Barnes in the second, third, fourth series of You Rang My Lord. And of course, he was in ITV's Boone. Right, so Ross can now...
So he's the teacher in Pender's Fen?
Yep.
Yes. I knew I fucking knew him from somewhere. And I was like, who is this twat? I found him. Well done, everyone.
Thank you. Well, I can close that down now and take my glasses off.
And that's been great. Listen, and see you again next week, guys.
Yeah, thank you. So,
but I just thought that Bob Groden guy. I said to Beck that he I think he was Canadian.
Yes,
and I felt like when they were making so many American films in the UK, he was perfect. But he's got a kind of American accent.
Yes,
and if they needed someone for a small part, got to go on all those James Bond films, Batman films, Superman films, Star Wars, and everything. Just if you're going to turn up for a day's work, it's fucking amazing.
Big money in it.
Yeah. Stuff. It's just amazing.
Have you watched Superman 4: The Quest for Peace today?
I didn't know.
What is it? Superman 4: Quest for Peace Day?
Yeah, it was on today, so we watched quite a lot of it. Helen was quite drawn into it with Nuclear Man. But
she liked his fingernails, did she?
There were Jim Broadbent's in it. Harold and Hilda fame from Ever Decreasing Circles.
Brilliant.
And then
he gets around. He's in lots of the things we've watched. Yeah.
And then someone else was in it. I was going to tell you, and now I've gone totally blank.
Christopher Reeve?
Not Christopher Reeve. Oh, Hawkins from Star Wars. I'm sure it's him. Yeah. The fat one. And then he's also in...
he was in a lot.
Flash Gordon.
No. Indiana Jones.
Raiders. He's at the start of Raiders, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes.
He's another American who was in Britain and was available to be an American.
It's those three as henchmen to Lex Luthor.
Right.
Mr. Luthor.
Right, okay.
Right, let's get into the thing then.
Let's get into the thing.
First of all, before we do get into the thing, I think we should just need to point out very good. John's had enough. John's off.
I'm just in my new tracksuit.
Yeah. Lovely. So there's just two things. First of all, often, and way back in the past of this episode, there was someone who admonished us for daring to watch things on YouTube and films that say, don't watch them on YouTube. Fair enough. I got it. But this, I wanted to say at the outset, I think this is, and it's really easy for us as middle-aged men to go, oh, everything's rubbish these days. Oh. But I thought this is when YouTube is spectacular. Because something like this is something that back in the start of the century, before YouTube, someone would have said, oh, have you ever seen Alternative 3? And you'd go, no. And then it would be virtually impossible to see this.
Unless you went to the BFI or something.
It would be shown in some weird convention somewhere where you'd have to then go and talk to weird sci-fi fans about
You've
stuff.
got it.
Speaking of which, I'm going to my first Doctor Who convention next month.
Oh, God, are you really? Where is that, please?
Derby.
Do you think?
Of course it is.
Do you think John Barrowman's going to tell you to fuck off as well? Obviously, that made me laugh so hard, John.
There was a watching.
The cranky woman as a Robo-Man.
Nicola Sturgeon. Yeah. We were watching Saving Private Ryan with the kids, but
that's
they made
a nice family film, isn't it?
Well, we stopped halfway through because they were getting so stressed by it. So before they went to bed, we watched an episode of You Being Framed.
We watched all of Schindler's List.
And there was a bit where so someone's doing a barbecue, and Harry Hill says, "Oh, this reminds me when I went to a barbecue at John Barrowman's house, and I had to get these sausages through the letterbox." and he said, there was mayonnaise everywhere. And I said, and Bex is looking at me, and I said, "Yeah, this was on at like 7:00 on ITV."
Oh my God.
You need to put that online, Cleves, that it was like hidden in plain sight or something. People will love that.
Oh my God.
Do you keep hearing podcast ads, like this one, for example, but always wonder how you actually get involved with them for your own brand or organization? Well, it's easier than you think. We're Acast, and we give you the platform to do it all yourself. Browse thousands of popular podcasts, choose the shows that match your perfect audience, set your budget, and launch. And if you want a hand, our podcast specialists are there to help you launch with confidence. This is podcast advertising without barriers. Get started at acast.com/advertise.
First and foremost, YouTube, fantastic. But the fact that everyone can watch this, and I've been saying to so many people, our friend and contributor and sometime contributor Chris Catlin, who was, at the live show, Chris said to me, "Oh, which one do you?" I saw Chris, and Chris said, "What are you doing next?" I said, "I'm doing this thing Alternative 3." And I sent him the YouTube link, and then he messaged me saying, "This is fantastic. This is really great. Thank you. I've enjoyed it."
Yeah, it's really good.
And you think this is when the internet is actually any good, that you can, that we can all watch this stuff, and it's there for everyone to watch. So yeah, for once, everyone, do get on YouTube and watch it. It is only 50 minutes.
Yeah, and thank you for whoever found it and put it on YouTube.
Brilliant. Well done, sir.
Brilliant.
Oh, man. Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then the second thing, I just wanted to give people a very quick bit of context as to how we're doing this. And that is the fact that The Guardian ran an article on this that was written by this guy, Phil Tinline. Now, Phil, when John saw it and saw the article and shared it with us saying, "This looks interesting," and straight away I thought, that's a really, number one, very distinctive surname, obviously. But I thought, I know that guy. He wrote one of my favorite... Last year, I read two amazing non-fiction books. One was Murderland, all about serial killers in America and how all the legends...
Nice.
Yeah, honestly, it's really, really good. And then the other one is this, which is Ghosts of Iron Mountain. And in it, it's all to do with basically this hoax that gets horribly out of hand. And these guys back in the the late 1950s, early 1960s, wrote a satirical piece for a magazine, for Esquire magazine in America, saying, notes from the Iron Mountain conference. And in it, they suggest that, well, because we're now living in a post-standard war age, now we're living in an atomic age, we're going to have to change how society works, and society must now be more closely controlled and monitored. And because men won't go and fight in wars like they used to, because we've got atomic wars, we're going to have to do things to channel men's aggression. So we should look to encourage and build into society occasions and places where men can go and fight each other and things like this, right? So
or make porn free, which is basically what they've done, isn't it? Well, it's just another thing which they're doing to control men, I think.
So anyway,
if I was conspiracy minded.
So what? After they wrote this article, it was very, very popular, and they then came out and said, "Look, people are getting a bit overexcited by this. Just to reiterate, this isn't real. This article is not real at all." But then the problem is that some people basically just sort of copied it up and then sold it. Or sold it as the famous pastiche that was in Esquire magazine. And then other people got hold of it and changed the cover. So the whole thing about it being a pastiche was removed. And then it was
just like the book version of this film.
Exactly that, Ross. Exactly that. Yeah. So it's remarkable to see that that's probably why Gary Tinline was writing about the article, is because, once again, this is something where it's something that was designed for entertainment, and very clever entertainment it is too, but also it's ended up having this weird real world ripple, which is kind of just fascinating to reflect on. So there you go. That's
something which made me think of is, do anyone remember a thing on YouTube called?
No, probably not.
So it was called Loose Change.
No.
Yes.
It was a documentary. It was a documentary basically saying 9/11 was fake. And I can remember it coming out and I'm watching it, and just thinking, I'm feeling so convinced by it. It was because conspiracy theories weren't a thing for me at that point. It was the first time I saw a proper conspiracy theory, and it was like, and how they work is that they just show you the facts, just back up their theory. They don't show you any of the alternative facts or the real facts. And I can remember watching it and thinking, this is real. This is real. And I just shared it with everyone at work. Everyone at work watched it. Everyone at work was convinced. And then I did a little bit of research and okay, this is, I just watched something saying this is all, actually, but for like a week I was a 9/11 truther, conspiracy theory truther.
Just watching Alex Jones.
But when you're not used to this kind of thing, and I imagine in 1979 when this came on, 78, if you're not used to this kind of thing, I can imagine people watching this and thinking, fuck, this is real, because and also the fact, with the space exploration was from the 1960s up to that sort of point, it was all moving so fast. That's when you could conceivably think, like, well, there's that fact in there, like it was only within a lifetime of them doing powered flight to them going to the moon. It was something ridiculous. So that at that point, you can conceivably think, well, maybe they could have got to Mars by now and just not told us about it. So I can see how people could have watched this at that point and think, there's potentially some truth in this.
I think it's also the fact that there's such a good degree of verisimilitude with this. There's points where you think this feels real, and it's what my first notes are, because it starts off by they introduce and they say there's been said that we're here to expose something very troubling that's been going on, and then with that there's this montage of people being interviews. Talking about people from their family who've gone missing, intercut with pictures of them and things and it feels very much like news and documentaries at the time were done, and that's why he said, as Ross put in his scripts at the start, the use of stock footage. And when you watch things on the news, there will often be, if not stock footage, but it will be that thing of journalists talking to camera intercut with actual footage. And they do this. They play that game, and it works extremely well.
So I'm just saying, it sounded like the program they were doing was an actual real program as well, because they was talking about that it was an edition of a real science program. So that gives it even more of a real feel to it.
And so as I said, we're told there's a number of scientists that have gone missing, and what I put is the first two. Oh, even with my very old and experienced head on, the first two look very real. It's the third one that you start to think they look a bit like actors. There's a bit of an actory vibe coming up. Still very, very good. And I put straight away, it just feels eerie. It's wonderfully eerie straight away. And we get some...
the one when they said that they just found a car in the multi-story.
That's really good.
That was really good.
And we get to see a lovely 1970s Heathrow as well, which having been there very recently, it's so hilarious to see that the car park is right on top of the runway, which is not like that now. But
all I've written at this point is brown, because I thought everyone is wearing brown.
Yes.
All the houses are brown. All the decor is brown. The cars are brown. It's mad.
Some of the clothes the reporters are wearing.
The safari superb. I'm going to talk about that a little bit and my memory of the past in a second, John. But I absolutely see where you're coming from. And what I also
just looked up the alternate free book and the second-hand version of it is £479 on paperback.
Oh, that's annoying.
Okay, well, if we win the lottery or something
somewhere, mustn't it?
Yeah,
maybe. Okay, so if AI hasn't destroyed the book first, etc. Right, so we're then also told that we and of course, it being the 1970s and harder to communicate with people when they went to different countries, we're told there's one guy who's an engineer and he told his family he was going to Australia to work for this company, and then I put, lovely to see his airmail letters. And again, it's something that the younger generation won't ever know about. The really thin, light airmail letters, so they would be cheap on the blue paper. And I remember my sister Kate writing to me from Australia and me writing to her back on that blue paper, which was amazing.
And what I loved about this is that he sent photographs back, but then it's implied those photographs are fake.
Yes,
because they got no record of him actually getting to Australia.
Yes,
I love that.
Yes, and they say we contacted the company he said he's working for, and they've never heard of him. That's right. And I've just put, I love stuff like this. Straight away, I'm like, this is playing so into my wheelhouse and the kind of story that I enjoyed. It's brilliant straight away. And they then flash up on the screen, like all of the people from England that have disappeared. And I just thought, maybe the listener might be interested to know this. They all disappeared whilst yours truly was in utero. The times of their disappearances was all while my mum was pregnant with me.
Yeah,
and I thought,
it's all connected.
Get the board out. Anyway, so then we see, wonderfully enough, and it's been in the news over here recently, Jodrell Bank. Lovely 70s footage of Jodrell Bank, the telescope.
With a tiny Action Man Tom Baker hanging off of it.
It's looking really rusty, and it looks a bit rusty and dirty, doesn't it? I thought
it does, which was lovely in 70s of it. Again, as you said earlier, John, I was like, oh, it's such a taking me back. Right?
They didn't have the money to basically upkeep anything, did they?
No, absolutely
Everything
not.
Looked fucked.
Just like now. And so what we find out is that one of the scientists from Jodrell Bank has died in mysterious circumstances. He was on his way to speak to a friend of his who worked in the media, and he sent on ahead this extremely important footage that he said that he had managed to capture at the telescope at Jodrell Bank. But then we're told that he died in the mysterious circumstances, and I'm told Ross to make a T-shirt of it on the General Witchfinder store. The amazing headline, 70s tabloid. It says, "Freak Skid kills science chief." And I just thought, skids were way more common growing up for us, weren't they? Pre-ABS car braking. Cars didn't skid off.
Pre-wet wipes.
No, Ross, come on. But genuinely, that's the schoolboy way of skids. But genuinely, skidding on your bike. But skids just seem to be a lot more prevalent in the early 80s.
Christopher was very good at doing skids on his bike.
He was, Ross. Quite right. And I put on my note is, this has got Dr. David Kelly vibes straight away. The British scientists, who, it's like, oh, did he kill himself or didn't he?
Dodgy dossier.
The dodgy dossier. All of that. Look that one up.
If you're,
that's right. Yeah. If you're not from Britain, look him up. Look that story up. That's very interesting as well.
Yeah, if you're listening to the rest of politics, remember, we'll kill that man.
I'd just like to say that Ross Cleaver does not speak for the other team members of the General Witchfinders.
That was satire.
Okay, all right. And then, but then they said, okay, but after this guy died, the guy, his friend, played the tape that he had recorded.
Nothing on it, supposedly.
And I put, it's a lovely line. I put that all that was there was the ceaseless cacophony of space. I thought, that's good. That's a great
videotape, and I thought, how wide was that videotape?
It was beautiful.
2-inch, wasn't it?
I don't know if it's not 3 inches. It looked really, really wide, and I don't know.
I just love the man that tape was sent to as well. He was like an editor of like a local newspaper, but he seems to go to work in like a tuxedo and a black bow tie.
Why not?
Why not?
People dress for work back then.
Yeah, they did.
But we missed out the lady who was part of this brain drain, because they started off doing this documentary about the brain drain, which is people leaving the country to go abroad.
Britain's so shit. Nothing has changed.
And when I was in Australia myself, there was a whole thing about the brain drain, because they were saying all the young people were leaving to go to Britain at the time, and that was how I managed to get a load of work placements out there, because there was no designers. They'd all gone off to be.
They'd gone in the opposite direction.
They'd all gone to England to be barmen
and open really sandwich shops, as I believe that's the very popular thing in East London these days. Young Australian men running sandwich shops, not a euphemism.
But but so basically, she was doing a documentary, and then one day she would stop talking to the young. One guy, and then she disappeared.
She's the lady in a Skoda, isn't she?
She is the lady in a Skoda. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got like a pea green, mushy pea green Skoda.
Yeah, and that's the car that's been just found abandoned at Heathrow.
Yes.
And do they also say, is it her who they say? Oh, but then Like British Airways say, we've got no record of this person getting on a plane. Oh, it's great. It's all so good.
So one of the things I like about this is if they did this now, they would find out more about the conspiracy, and then it'd be much easier for you to pick holes in it and it not feel real. But there's so much which is just like it's just all mystery.
Yeah.
And so like it makes it more I felt more feasible because you just fill in the gaps in your mind for something which you could actually believe, rather than them putting stuff in which might not work for you.
We get two scenes that I really, really love. So we're told that this American guy has contacted them to say, I worked with the guy at Jodrell Bank, and I know some things, and I need to talk to you. And we're told that the reporter Benson, for it is he, and with the amazing coat, he's like, I will meet you. I'll come and meet you. And I've put, this is just like the Cook Report a few years ahead of time. Undercover filming.
R.I.P. Peter.
The great Roger
Is
Cook.
Robin Cook? Peter Cook.
Roger Cook.
Yeah.
Shagger. Yeah, great guy. So
in his scimitar.
And the problem is I love these two scenes. The problem is once again with the verisimilitude thing, is that we're told, he says, this was very unethical to film him without his consent, but we hope you'll appreciate why we did it. But then the problem is that
a massive 16mm camera
in the back of a car. And then the problem is it's shot too smoothly. These days, as Ross was saying, if you did it now, it'd just be so easy because you would just say, I recorded this on my phone. But because it's being shot so smoothly, it feels too staged. But it's brilliant because what he says is, look, I'll talk to you. Something's going on, but I can't talk to you here and now. Like, you've got to be committed to this. And Benson says, yes, we are. I promise you we are. And he's like, okay, come to my address tomorrow. But then it says, however, the next day we went to the address. And what John was saying, for me, everything about the exteriors where they shot this, it was like looking back into my early childhood. It's like, this is how I remember the world being. It's like a row of terrace houses, and they're really kind of dirty and grimy, and it just felt so real. I was like, oh, this is going back to my childhood. And he's staying in this.
And he did say, but he said before
really
that
cozy as well, though, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. And he says,
but he did say that he was, before this, he was worried that he would be given some kind of like flu or something like that. So he did imply that he would be given some kind of infection because he was talking to them.
Yes. And so he turns up, he knocks on the door of this bed and breakfast, or this kind of bed sit place. Thank you. That's the word I'm scrabbling for. This bed sit place that he's staying. And I put, it's amazing. He bangs on the door.
Thanks.
And like his girlfriend opens up and she goes like, yes, who is it? And I put, he just says, Anglia Television, science reports. And I put, that will open any door in the world. There is not a person in the world that can deny Anglia Television science report. But that's why. And so they go upstairs. That's all done really, really well. They kind of like keep the camera rolling, as it were, as they go up the stairs. And they go into the room and I put, this is the bit that's like a horror film. Because whatever they've done to him, and he does act it really well, he's just like freaking out. They've done something to him, and he's having some kind of
infected with something.
He's having some kind of mental breakdown. Yeah, I put the line was.
But doesn't the presenter say, is he on psychotics or mushrooms or something like that?
Is he on acid or something? Which is a bit brass eye.
Yes.
I will say, yeah. I put that.
It's very Chris Morris.
It is very. But he then like kind of goes.
All of this does feel a bit like.
It is a bit like brass eye. It's great. That's not a bad thing. And so we're told once again. So that avenue is kind of closed down on us, and we're really getting the sense of something fucking weird is going on. And then we get the thing which I thought, oh my God, we've gone full circle. We are told that last summer, which would have been the hot summer of 1976, the world was stricken by a great drought. And we're given, again, archive footage of the great drought of 1976, virtually identical to what we're going through in 2026 right now.
This bit's wild, isn't it?
Yes. And he then explains, I put, wow, they were talking, when I look back on my childhood, I thought, well, greenhouse gases and the greenhouse effect was only really being used as lingua franca in the media in sort of like the mid 1980s onwards. Here they are.
I can remember finding out about it at school, and me and my two friends asked if we could do an assembly about it because we were so concerned about the greenhouse effect. Yeah, and we drew pictures on acetate and put it on the overhead projector, explaining how it worked and all that kind of stuff. But you're right, James. I had never heard about it until probably 1987, 1988.
But here it is.
But it's mad that they were doing it then.
In 1978, going, we best do something about this, guys, which is quite remarkable.
And still no one gives a shit.
No.
Yes. So then the feeling is, it's like, are we about to hit some climate catastrophe? They also say there's been a number of earthquakes and volcanoes going on.
Which we've had recently as well.
Absolutely. And then it's that vibe of, oh my God, is the life on Earth, are we about to hit a catastrophe point? So once again, unbelievably apt timing. And then we pivot to our Apollo astronaut, who's this guy Bob Gordon, and we were talking about him at the start.
I love the way they show how he's changed. And they had a full-size cardboard cut out of him, what he looked like when he went to the moon, and then a full-size cardboard cut out of him now.
He's a schlub.
That's dishevelled.
He always looks quite sweaty.
Yeah,
his whole thing is sweaty.
They sweat him up. They're lathering him in Vaseline as the episode goes on, because by the end of it, he looks like he's been deep fried.
Yeah, it looks been gunged by Noel.
and then this is what I think is so good about this program is that there's little elements of truth that they've weaved in the same way that, yes, in 1976. The hot summer of 76 was that start of environment, the environmental and the greenhouse effect that we're all struggling with now. Yes, it was. And then also, obviously, he's a fictionalized character, although, as we heard at the start in the book, they just went flat out and just said this is supposed to be Buzz Aldrin. What I've put is all of that is true about the Apollo astronauts. I've banged on about this book many, many times, but I love anything to do with space and the Apollo missions. And there's an amazing book called Moondust, which is really worth reading, wherein the author went out of his way to try and speak to every single man who was still alive who had set foot on the moon. And to a man, he doesn't manage to get to Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong basically just writes to him and just says, look, I'm sorry, I don't talk to anybody anymore. But everybody else he speaks to just says, it freaks us out. Standing on the moon, it does something to your, humans were not meant to see this, which is very J.G. Ballard. The whole, your brain can't handle it. But it does something so profound to you that when you go back to planet Earth, it weirds you out forever. And loads of them they either became religious or they became alcoholics. That's a real thing. So once again, this program's so good because this kind of thing did happen. They did all go a bit nuts. So yes, that's what's happened. He's gone a bit mad, but he's gone mad because of what he saw when he was on the moon.
So there's two bits. They try and do an interview with him, and then when he starts talking about it, it gets cut off. So it's like someone was listening to the communication, and he
starts freaking out, doesn't he? He's like, "Are you screwing with me, man?" And then the plug is pulled, and they say it's not their end, it's not our end, it's the satellite, something else in between.
And they play some footage of him on the moon, and he starts going somewhere where he's not meant to because he sees lights.
And he's like, look at what is that over there? And they're like, no, don't look at the secret moon base.
Yeah, basically. And they said there's a third channel with their communication, which is meant to be used for their vital signs. But apparently, and I think this is true as well, but if they want to talk to them secretly, they get them to switch to that channel off air. So basically, they just switched to that and told them don't go over there. And they also showed another bit when they were going around the moon, and he sees lights then, and they say, "Oh, could it be this Russian spacecraft?" And they say, "Well, that Russian spacecraft was not meant to have left the Earth's orbit. So why were they talking nonchalant about it being in the lunar orbit?" Again, all fucking brilliant stuff, but. Astronauts have seen lights up in space, these unexplained lights. They think it'd just be space rubbish and stuff, reflecting stuff, but
it's just close enough. And then once again, how they did it, they just use a load of archive stuff from the Apollo missions, play that audio, like the crackly audio over the top of it. It feels very real. I also put that,
and they showed one of my favourite pieces of space ephemera is that bit of when they show the Russian capsule and then they fade in Laika sitting in the there's an amazing graphic novel I got recently all about Laika's life.
Right.
It's fantastic. I can't remember who did it, but I got it from a charity shop the other day, and it's very, very moving.
It's just bless her.
Yeah, but it's just her story of that dog's life, and also the story of the man who put her up there. It's very moving.
All I've said at this point is bring back safari suits.
Once again, as with the airmail, so beautifully charming and quaint, where they go, "Oh, we spoke to him in Boston," and he's like, "Can you hear me in Boston?" And he's like, "Yes, I can hear you." And what I put is, I spoke to my cousin who lives in Sydney via WhatsApp the other Christmas,
it's mad,
live on video. Hi, how you doing?
Mad.
And they're on the other side. And now it's like, oh my God. Again, as Ross was saying, flight to landing on the moon in less than 100 years, in less than 50 years, craziness. They then decide that they need, because of the signal breaking down, they say that they're going to go and speak to Bob himself. And so they
basically, this is Louis Theroux from this point on.
Yes,
so this is like Louis going over to see, probably an astronaut.
And there's a couple of bits, which is number one, his house is fantastically 70s. The wood paneling in his house is magnificent. And I've also
did wonder if his house is somewhere in East Anglia.
It must be. It must be.
Like,
it's got to be.
So it must be someone.
But look authentically
American. Yeah.
Good job.
And they can't have sent someone to America, can they, for this program?
We're introduced to Bob Grodin's wife, who I've written
or girlfriend.
His girlfriend. And in the parlance of the 1970s, I've just put, she's a dolly bird.
She really is.
She's an absolute, as they would call women in the 70s that look like this, she's an archetypal dolly bird.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure it was clear that it wasn't his daughter.
Yes. In old-fashioned terminology, she looks very healthy.
That's right, as my dad would say. But that's also, as Ross says, in that bit, number one, feels quite real. Number two, or feels a bit Louis Theroux. And it's like, it just feels weirdly real. It's incredible. And then what we basically get is he outlines and says something that I've put down, someone that's into why do people believe in conspiracy theories. The secret space program is still effing massive in conspiracy theory circles. The notion that that the space program that you all know about, in inverted commas, is not the real space program. There's a second space program that they just don't tell you about. And that's way more advanced, and they've got moon bases and all of this sort of stuff. It's all bollocks, of course. Even when they went and did the pass on the dark side of the moon earlier this year, when they went round, when the Chinese went, when the NASA astronauts went round it.
But they did find something bigger than they did see something when they went round there, which the Chinese have put up there, which is way bigger than what they said they set up there. And they don't know what it is.
Yeah, but it's not a man. So it's not a man moon base.
Not a man base.
No, right. Okay.
But I still think it was pretty cool that they said that there is stuff the Chinese are doing, which is not what they're actually saying they're doing, and it's on the moon, which is brilliant.
Cool.
But yeah, this is good because he was increasingly getting more and more drunk,
and
wasn't he?
Sweaty.
He kept trying to get. Yeah, and trying to get the presenter to drink along with him as well.
It reminded me very much of when Melvin Bragg did the South Bank show with Francis Bacon, which you should watch. It's not British horror by any stretch of. Well, I suppose Francis Bacon's
paintings
but it's South Bank show 1985. They go somewhere and Francis Bacon is pouring. When you used to get wine on its side in like a thing made out of like reeds with a handle. He's pouring that, and at one point Melvin Bragg goes, "Cheerio, Francis," and Francis Bacon is sat right next to him, and they are both absolutely steaming. And this really reminded me of that process where it's like, we're real men. We've got to get down to the nitty-gritty of this by getting, for some reason, shit-faced.
Really drunk. That's right. It's so serious.
You're not interested in fantasy, are you?
No, not the least.
Neither am I, not the slightest.
I'm not interested in fantasy. I'm interested in reality.
And what's reality?
Reality is what exists. Are you real? To me, you're real. There you are. There you are, Melvin Bragg. You are absolutely real to me. There you are, flesh and blood before me. How are you going to remake that? That's be a real. How are you going to make that in another art?
And then I'll tell you the story. But he doesn't really tell him a huge amount, does he?
Like when Savile went to bed, and then Savile told the cameraman how he used to tie people up in the basement and whip them with a hose pipe.
Yeah.
And
all
is that while they're in like his camper van?
No, it's when they were in Scarborough.
The Scarborough van. The Leeds. No, the Leeds one.
I only remember the bit when they're in the camper van somewhere, and then I was arrested the next day, obviously.
Because Ross, don't you remember that legendary video that was sent to us by that guy who was saying, was Jimmy Savile a dark magician?
It's on YouTube. Hopefully it's still on YouTube now, but it's just basically saying Jimmy Savile is a magician, and things like in spells you say for him 3 times, like now then. He's talking about the past and the future and all this kind of stuff, and he wore robes, and he's got and all that, and he's got that necklace which is with a glass eye out of someone at the morgue which he had sex with, and all this kind of stuff. And 99% of it's all real, and it's fucking mental, man.
Now then.
Did Savile use this phrase to create a specific mind state in his audience? By repeating the words now and then 3 times, was he attempting to penetrate deep into a subconscious level of the psyche? And was he deliberately using 2 opposing words, now and then, to further confuse and mesmerise? Once under his spell, the nation was powerless to the persuasive nature of the magician who could manipulate perception of reality for his own gratification.
And his suggestion that in some ways, because of his flat, which Louis Theroux went to, is right over but close to where the Yorkshire Ripper, Peter Sutcliffe, killed a number of his victims. And this documentary suggests that in some way, because he spent time with him in Broadmoor afterwards, that he was in some way controlling Peter Sutcliffe. It's nuts. It's fantastically nuts. But
and they play Frank Bruno laughing in slow motion as well.
Creepy. Right? So I think Ross, on our old podcast when we were ahead of the times and just talking about pop culture, we mentioned this and said, it's mad, wasn't it? And then the guy that made it, it's always Ross that has to deal with this stuff. It's never me. The guy that made it messaged you, didn't he? Going,
I can't remember.
Yeah. He messaged you going, thank you for mentioning this. You might want to watch this one as well. And, he made other ones. And we were like, we should probably step away from this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
that time I was advertising for a designer to work at my design company, and someone sent me loads of pictures of floating Theresa May's heads with razor blades stuck in them. And it's just like hundreds of pictures of
trees and...
Theresa May's
the
head,
former Prime Minister.
The minister's head floating with razor blades stuck in them. But hundreds of paintings he'd done of this, and was looking for a job as a designer. And I was like,
I had to say no to Banksy, says Ross. Anyway,
being on the internet is amazing, but also a very weird.
That's something that we've learned tonight, isn't it? Isn't it, people? Right, so. Our story then, by this point, you're round about the 40-minute mark, and we then kind of speed up a little in the fact that we then get one of the female reporters goes to London to speak to something which is obviously just like this made-up political agency, but they do a really good job of making it look real. And
that's
this guy
really
says,
good, that part.
And this guy who looks, and again, this won't mean a lot to people, but John, this is for John. He looks a lot like Nobby Stiles when Nobby Stiles retired. England's 1966 World Cup hero, one of them, Nobby Stiles, when he retired, wore huge glasses.
Has he got his teeth in or out?
Yeah, with teeth in, and he looks just like this guy. Anyway, but what this guy suggests is, he basically says, I keep saying basically, sorry, I've had a glass of wine. This guy says, the East-West diplomacy is a lie. So, of course, you remember, dear listener, that this was the 1970s, the height of the Cold War. And what he says is, this can't be real, because if they really did hate each other this much, there should have been
a war.
There should have been more war by this point. And so to that end, he's like, this is a lie. And that really, they're working much closer together. And the line,
I thought that part was super interesting. I thought that was great.
And they were saying, we're meant to be at odds in basically a Cold War, but we're doing all this joint space stuff, which they were doing.
Yeah.
Where they were going up in each other's rockets, they were going onto each other's space stations and stuff as well. But they also have another amazing big cardboard cutout in the studio of like all the landings on the moon on what we could see. But they said if you flip it and you look on the dark side of the moon, they're all landing in the same place. So that was really cool as well.
And
one bit I got to mention, which I thought was quite funny, is when they're going for all the people who've gone missing, they got one of those index card things where he's hundreds of cards in there where he pulls out like the 6 people who've gone missing. And he's taken them out of an alphabetized drawer, shows them, and then shoves them all back in completely out of order, completely fucking up their filing system.
And
anyway,
the line that I wrote down is, at the highest level of East-West diplomacy, there is an apparent factor about which we know nothing. Which is why I was like, "Ooh, good."
I thought that was really interesting. That it's like antimatter. That it's like in the universe you have to have this X thing because you can't explain it all with matter. So you have to so there must be something else, and we don't know what it is. I thought that was a really clever way of saying there's all this stuff going on, and because we don't know it's there, it must be there. I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was really clever.
Nice.
Very, very good.
In philosophy, that's known as the principle of sufficient reason. By the way, the whole thing of there's got to be an answer. If you can pose that question, there must be a solution to it. There must be. If you can put a logical question forward, there should be a logical answer. Anyway, but that's by the by. We've gone off. Now, what we then get, she speaks to a guy who says, it's highly possible that we could, it's easy, we couldn't keep launching stuff off from Earth, but if it would be much easier to assemble big ships in space, and it would be easier to assemble lots of stuff. And she's like, is this possible? And then he points at the wall and he says, we have the machines now. And what I put is, he points at a picture of a ship that's got 0 storage on it. There's no room to store anything on that.
But he's saying if we had some kind of shuttle, which
at the time
later, we did have a space shuttle.
Yeah. And he then says, basically, saying basically again, sorry. He then says, the pictures of Mars that NASA have released, they're a fraud because the distance, you only can ever see a certain distance to the horizon. And it's highly possible that is a film set. And what I've put is...
they've said it's about the size of a film set.
And amazingly, that I've put is virtually the plot of the movie Capricorn 1.
O.J. Simpson runs across there.
O.J. Simpson, and Elliot Gould,
and then
Telly
Roger Moore comes
Savalas.
in.
Right? It's brilliant. Capricorn 1, if you haven't seen Capricorn 1, do watch it. But then as I was watching, I was like, when did they make Capricorn 1? And where did they make it? 1978. So I don't know which one came first or who got into production first. But once again, it's that kind of amazing, as Karl Popper would say, World 3 idea of these ideas were out there in popular culture. Being used.
And this guy, while he's telling this, he brings out the longest, thinnest cigar to smoke while he's giving all his information. And everyone is smoking different. So there's a bit when they... when they go to see the coroner, he's smoking a pipe. The guy's interviewing him smoking a massive cigar and that as well.
And
but basically, that's when they're talking about what alternate 3 is. Because this is a guy. So the guy who played the coroner in Hello, he is a climate scientist, and he's basically said, I was talking about this ages ago about the greenhouse effect, and no one was listening to me. Now it's kicking in. They're saying,
what can we do?
Why did you tell me about this? And he said, I did. And what can we do? And he said, nothing, but because you should have done something when I first told you about it. But he said there's 3 alternatives. The first 2 are impossible, and the third alternative is basically, we find out later, we leave the planet. They later on talk about what the first 2 are. The first 2 is 1, reduce the population of the planet, or 2, reduce the amount of resources we're taking. And the third one is leave the planet. Which is basically what
Elon Musk is trying to do.
And Bezos is doing as well. So
incredible. It's all coming true.
Again, did these guys see this is all coming true? We've got all of this stuff, all of these environmental things going out of hand, and we've got the richest people on the planet basically getting ready to leave.
It would be great if they would just leave and fuck off and leave the rest of us to it.
And then someone just flicks a switch and puts the temperature back down and said, we did that so all the rich people could fuck off and leave us alone.
Hooray! The one thing, it's virtually, I haven't got too many more notes, but the one thing I said, that would be my other astronaut thing that I mentioned in a minute. They talk about the Russian space program and we see Yuri Gagarin. And I have to say on this podcast, one of my favorite stories of all time. BBC4 did a night or did a thing all about Soviet cosmonauts. It was fantastic. Once again, it might be on YouTube. I'll have a look. It was incredible. Basically, how the Soviets went about it. And what I never realized was that they send up Gagarin. Gagarin is the first man in space. They didn't.
Well, that they talked about.
Well, yeah.
So they reckon there's ones before that.
And all of that. Yeah. But what they didn't figure out is, how are we going to land his capsule?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
So they didn't have a landing mechanism for it. So what they told him to do, and think about this, dear listener, think about the balls on this guy. You're coming back in. You've just been the first man in space. Your capsule is re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. They told him to jump the fuck out. He had to jump out at 23,000 feet with a parachute.
Oh, right.
And he survived. Obviously, he survived. Now you think, that's balls. That's balls of pride. You're coming back in. Think about how fast and hot that must have been. And at around about 23,000 feet, they went, you can jump out now, Yuri. And he's like, yeah, all right. They used to build them different back then.
People are made of different stuff back then. Yeah, definitely.
The right stuff,
Watching Saving Private Ryan, the kids today, Roman said, I wouldn't do any of this. I said, I wouldn't do any of this either. I'm just saying, fuck off. There's no way I
would be up them. I'd be the translator. I'd be sad like the corner crying the entire time. Absolutely, yeah. Right, so, and then my note said, I've just realised that the Mars expert is actually the German commander from a lower low. So, as we said at the start, that's that. They then... Finally, the girlfriend of the American guy who was doused with the drugs and sent mad turns up and says, he wanted you to have this. And basically, it's a night.
Did they say what happened to him? Has he gone missing?
But yeah, probably.
I don't know if they say what happened to him.
And she passes them a real 1970s chip. God only knows what the processing power on that
goes,
thing was.
I don't know what this is. And he goes, he has to explain to her that it's some kind
chip.
Of spoken smoke,
And they managed to magically plug it into a computer. That de-scrambles the footage that the scientist who died in the massive skid earlier, what he was trying to get out to the public. And what we see is it's the unscrambled footage of man is on Mars. They clearly just
landed on Mars. Really good footage, and I don't know how they did it.
Well, it's like it's the Gobi Desert or something, isn't it?
Yeah,
the Sahara. They've just flown a plane over the Sahara.
It's the beginning of Airwolf.
Yeah, similar. Again, there's one for the teenagers, but it's similar.
Yeah,
so it's desert footage that they put the sheen on. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and then when it lands, you see something underneath the surface of the burrowing around, which is, and I think like if we do find life, that's what it's going to be like. It'd be fucking amazing. A Mars mole.
Yeah. And they say, wow, what a day in human history. On this day, the year 1962. And then afterwards they say, yes, we verified that date is correct. So we have been on Mars since 1962 is the long and the short of it. And also, we've also missed out the one bit where they have suggested that who they're taking off-world, not only all of our brain drain scientists from the start, but they're also taking artists,
Yeah, so I got a list of the people they said they're taking. University lecturers, research assistants, RAF technicians, architects, engineers, historians, neurologists, bacteriologists, novelists, readers in comparative literature and chemists. So all of those things can be just AI at the moment.
Richard Osman. Get Rosman. We need who's the most successful novelist? Barbara Cartland. Get Jilly Cooper on.
It'd be Richard Burton, who's written all those books. That's the one they want up. The guy from the Medusa Touch, that novelist.
And him. Yes. And so with that, the guy, the presenter kind of down the barrel of the camera and says, something is happening, and we don't know what it is, but it's obvious that we're being lied to, and we demand answers. And then it finishes, and it says, science report broadcast on April the 1st, 1977, which is when it should have been. So again, I would have been alive for a month. So it was quite exciting to think.
I think the main guy who wasn't an actor, he was an actual newsreader.
He did a great job.
He's fucking brilliant, man.
He holds it all together. Like, I think without him, it wouldn't have been such a success. He plays totally straight all the way through, doesn't he?
Yeah. So what do you think, John? What do you think of it?
Well, it's a 5, isn't it? It's whatever the maximum score is, it's a maximum score. I think for me, it's very much like a British lo-fi X-Files kind of prequel. But also, it's very, very, very much a prequel to Quatermass 4. Like, it literally could be an official prequel to Quatermass 4. So,
which would make sense for if we are going to do
Quatermass 4. Have you seen that, Cleves?
Yes, I've seen the whole thing.
Okay, but you haven't seen that, James.
I have not. So
I read to see what
I read a Starburst article about it in 1989.
Starburst is back.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's an online thing.
Of course.
Yeah, so I should say now we are going to be doing the last Quatermass 4 or the Quatermass conclusion.
Cool.
We're going to be watching the film edit because I think it was a 4 or 5 part series, so it might be a bit too long. Yeah, so it'd be too
for our dear listener.
Yeah, but we're going to watch it. Yeah, but it is really good. It's worth watching the long version. But we're going to
it's one of the most memorable things I've ever watched.
Well, so we're going to be watching that next week. Back to
what I was going to say is what we can do is, I'll watch it, and then as we record, you can tell me what has been cut out, and then that'll be useful. I imagine
most of the stuff with F out of EastEnders with all the old people living in the dump, I imagine. But we will. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yes.
If my score again, it's a 5 for me. This was
fantastic.
This was so in my wheelhouse, and when I first watched it, I didn't know what to expect, and just came home from work, stuck it on, saw it, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is brilliant. I said that first 10 minutes pulled me in. So cleverly done. It's just Anglia TV making this, and it just goes to show you
it's like a space thread, isn't it?
It is like a space thread. That's a nice one.
Well,
Ross.
I was thinking, but it reminded me quite a lot aesthetically of Survivors. The clothes that they're wearing in Survivors, that kind of vibe.
Late 70s, amazing.
It does make me think, with TV production, are we massively going backwards where we literally can't make stuff like this anymore?
Yeah.
The BBC can't even make blankety blank anymore. And that's the truth. They axed blank recently, and it's like, you can't make blankety blank. What the fuck are you actually making? For the past 2 weeks, all there's been on the BBC is fucking athletics. What the fuck? No one cares about that shit. Where are the dramas? Where are the horror sci-fi genre dramas now on the BBC?
Where's Tender's Fen?
There's literally none. There's literally none.
But we don't need it, John. We've got YouTube. We've got all this stuff. We just watch.
The nearest thing you get now, which I really enjoy, is Android. But it's like, it's bizarre that we used to make stuff like this.
Comedy's where it's at now.
Yeah.
That's where you get the interesting ideas in comedy.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 as well. I think it's another full marks for us. I just love talking about it as well, and the more you read about it,
classic. And I'm amazed that I hadn't even heard of it until a couple of weeks ago.
And I love the way that they took it even further in the book. And you're right, John. There is a scan of the book on the Internet Archive. I just found it.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at that.
Great.
I think, Ross, we need to create some kind of sound effect for when it's full house. All three of us give it a 5.
There must be some sound effect. Yeah, there must be some kind of sound effect on Brucey's play your cards right for like a full house.
Yeah.
Well done. You played that very well.
Right. Yeah, so I think it was fantastic. Really highly recommend this. It's one of those things where, and I think doing this podcast, there's a lot of stuff which there's a lot of stuff which is like touchstones of things from the kind of era we talk about, and you just get the same things coming round and round again, and a lot of and it's great. But things like The Wicker Man that just keeps coming around again and again. People love it, rightly so. There's some great stuff in it, but it's great when you find something which is like, well, I've never fucking heard of this. And then you look into it, and it's like, well, actually, this is a massive touchstone for a lot of arty people and stuff, but it's still underground, and it's not often you find an underground little gem like this, like we did when we were younger, where you would find it in a magazine after we found it in The Guardian. So
repeated late at night on TV. What is this?
Yeah.
And you would say that this is timeless. You would say that Pender's Fen is timeless. The Road is timeless. The other ones that we've really enjoyed.
Just great ideas.
Yeah, they've kind of broken free of the constraints of different genres. It's mad how we put
we like it when things are inventive on this, though, on our podcast.
like iconoclastic kind of stuff.
But like you said, James, it's mad that something made in 1970,
probably shot in 76. Yeah.
Feels as relevant, even more relevant
now
today than it did when it was up there. Have we got anything horrific you want to talk about?
I'm going to go downstairs and eat some brioche.
I'm just going to say that I watched The Abominable Snowman.
Oh, yeah. I watched it last in my grandmother's house in 1993 or 1994 or something. So I'll be interested. I remember the final shot is of the Yetis. But I can't remember anything.
They look very outer limits.
Yeah,
but it's really good, and it's worth. I think we should do it at Christmas as our Christmas film because snow, and also Nigel Neal, and he's classic Nigel Neal. It's not just them going off to find the Yeti. Yeah. It's him just making up all this fucking weird mental stuff, which is really brilliant.
I don't remember it being Nigel Neal at all, so that's really good.
Yeah. So it's classic Nigel Neal. So it's worth watching for that. So we do that at Christmas.
Excellent.
Next time on General Witchfinders, we are going to be doing the final movie version of Quatermass for the Quatermass conclusion with John Mills as the Quatermass.
Right. Yeah.
So join us for that one.
Have we watched? Does that mean we've now watched all the movie versions? It does, doesn't it? Oh, that's interesting.
Hooray!
Love, light, and peace.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Happy day. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The General Witchfinders. Support the show and continue the conversation at patreon.com/General Witchfinders. Subscribe and spread the word at generalwitchfinders.com. Farewell, and don't have nightmares.
Mike was blinded by the setting sun between the tall poplars at the end of the huge garden. Stevie took advantage and ducked Mike under the water and held him there. Mike desperately tried to get free. He saw stars as he panicked and felt he was about to die when Stevie released him. Mike burst into the surface of the water, hungrily gulped the breath of air he thought he'd never taste again, and was blinded by a light. But it was not the light of the sun. Bob and Dave are the only people who remember a lost 1970s children's TV show called The Mind Children.
Reconnected after 40 years by social media, the childhood friends start to investigate why it was cancelled after only 3 episodes and what happened to its elusive creator. Find Series 9 of Listen with Other on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, other podcast providers, and at listenwithother.co.uk.
Thumbtack presents Uncertainty Strikes. I was surrounded. The aisle and the options were closing in. There were paint rollers, satin and matte finish, angle brushes, and natural bristles. There were too many choices. What if I never got my living room painted? What if I couldn't figure out what type of paint to use? What if I just used Thumbtack? I can hire a top-rated pro that knows everything about interior paint, easily compare prices, and read reviews. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
Quick question. When was the last time a display ad changed your mind? Now think about the last time a friend told you about something they loved. Different feeling, right? That's how podcast advertising works. A host who's built real trust with their audience talks about your brand in their own words, in their own voice. It doesn't interrupt the experience. It's part of it. With Acast, you can access the world's largest podcast marketplace. Choose the right shows, the right audiences, the right format. Then watch the data tell you it worked. You're not buying impressions. You're buying influence. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Yeah. Oh, he's doing a bit of a Mick Jagger.
Get off my cloud. Have we done Village of the Damned?
No.
Oh, we should do that.
Yeah, we definitely. Well,
I thought we'd done it.
We'll do that in 2028 because we're almost finished filling up 2027.
Okay. I feel like I've imagined me saying, "Oh, and that's just another bit of fucking stock footage of the plane crashing." We've done. I tell you what, we've done
the demons.
No. We've done
Earth Dice Screaming.
Yes, which uses the footage from Village of the Damned.
Yeah,
yes.
And we did the demons, which has the dome around it from the Village of the Damned.
Yes.
When Rome was really off her face on on drugs when she was in hospital, I made her watch the Village of the Damned with me because she couldn't protest.
And she got like a really weird memory of all that now. Like, did that happen?
God, yeah. About halfway through, she's like, "Can we turn it off now, please?"
It's like a different what do you call climate there.
Climate,
yeah, it's wild. I don't know why it's so hot there.
The last month or so, my vocabulary is like gone by half.
Yeah. Guys,
I can't remember any fucking words.
Absolutely age, I'm afraid, guys. Yeah. It's my thing is I can't remember actors' names all of a sudden, and that really frustrates me.
Yeah, I can't remember fucking words, and getting the. I can't remember. I was trying to describe the cat today. I can't remember what the word I was trying to look. I was saying
furry.
Feline.
I was saying how.
Yeah.
No, when Rowan strokes it, you can see it's got an internal thing of like, I can't be bothered to get up, but I don't like this.
Yes.
But it's having that internal kind of like thing of like, do I not like this enough to bother to get up? Yeah. But I couldn't think of the word I can't remember what the word was now, but I was there for like, and it was just, I was going, don't look up, don't pick up your phone. That's what's causing this. Yeah.
Or dichotomy.
Yeah. Something like that. But anyway, so now we're gonna be using our vocabulary for an hour. Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of actors and the thing I just watched through twice at double speed. So let's try and remember this, but it's still in my mind.
I think it's very memorable. I think it's super memorable. I can't remember why we're even doing it.
There was an article in the Guardian.
Right. Is that what I sent?
Yes, I think so.
I thought that's what it was. And then James is reading something similar.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's get into it and let's do it.
I thought that, well, we're recording already, aren't we?
Yeah.
I thought that we were doing it because the same man had written Pender's Fen.
No, that's something else which you're going to be doing later on, which
that's Artemis 80, whatever.
Right. So something beginning with A and a number. I was like, fucking hell, the breadth of this guy's work is astonishing. If you did Pender's Fen and this guy is like the new Nigel Neal from 1975. Stop recording. I'll make sure it's recording.
I killed you guys?
Yeah, you still said it's recording. Okay, I'm just going to see if I can download it while...
No, you've frozen.
No. So see what happens. Oh, he's coming back.
He's coming back. They've just taken him to...
He's been off to the bars.
Yeah. He's been by a black hole for 20 years.
Something sucked him off. Oh, where is he?
James, can you hear us? Beep. Come in, James. Beep.
Oh.
He's back.
I'm back.
What happened, James?
Sorry.
I think it's us talking about the Philadelphia experiment, and the FBI heard it and they got the feed.
Yeah. And now I can't. Okay, John's back. There you go. Right. So. And again, this is all for the cutting room floor, Ross, but did I say about when I was watching, when my sister Kate, it was me, Karen, Kate and Kirsty were all at Kate's, and Kate was like, oh, have you seen the new Harry Hill show on YouTube? And we said, no, it's really, really good. And we were watching it, and it was the Stuart Lee one, and we were laughing away. And then when he did the fake ad break, and whenever he has like the really dreadful ventriloquist dummy that's supposed to be his son, and he's bold, and then he just went, hello. It's me, Chris Whitty from the COVID pandemic. And I thought I was going to fucking die. I had to lie on the floor. I was laughing so much. And when you have one of those fits of the giggle, Ross knows exactly when I get like this. Yeah. But I laughed so hard, it's like I'm insensible for a few minutes. And then when I started to calm down, I was like doing that, and Kirsty just went, are you still thinking about Chris Whitty? And that just set me off again. Just the phrase, are you still thinking about Chris Whitty? I'm still laughing about it now.
It is really good. I highly recommend the Harry Hill TV.
Put that at the end. Put that at the end. Yeah. Right. Okay. So.
You obviously love Michelangelo's men.
I think the greatest things he ever did were the drawings, but I think they're the greatest drawings that exist.
You said, I've read that you have said, that he gave the most expansive, you used better words. You said the most...
I tell you what I said. I think he gave the greatest male voluptuousness.
Voluptuousness. That's it.
Yes.
Voluptuousness.
To the male body.
That's right.
That's any other man has ever done.
Don't you think it's a bit kind of...
volupte is all we want. Voluptuousness.
Yes, I know. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Isn't it a lovely word?
Absolutely amazing. And actually, we want to live in a state of voluptuousness.
How right you are. Whatever it is.
And everything else is a falling away.
Whatever it is. Everything else
is a falling away.
Is a falling away.
That's right. You're not interested in fantasy, are you?
No, not the least.
Neither am I, not the slightest.
I'm not interested in fantasy. I'm interested in reality.
And what's reality?
Reality is what exists. Are you real? To me, you're real. There you are. There you are, Melvyn Bragg. You are absolutely real to me. There you are, flesh and blood before me. How are you going to remake that? That's be a real... How are you going to make that in another art?
Why do you want to? That's the interesting question. Why do you want to? Why do you want to?
Because I want to be... You may say, why should you? But I want to be able to remake in another medium the reality of an image that excites me. Cheerio.
Cheerio, Francis. Why do you want to do that, Francis?
Because I like doing it. That's because I happen to be a painter, and that's all.
Cheerio, friends.
You've got social dialed in. Search is doing its thing. So why do your marketing results look the same as 6 months ago? That's because you're fishing in the same pond as everyone else. Podcast listeners are a different audience entirely. More engaged, harder to reach through traditional channels, and ready to act when someone they trust makes a recommendation. We're Acast, and we put them right in front of you. Browse thousands of the world's leading podcasts, book host reads or run your own ads, and track every conversion in real time. Same skills you already have, brand new results. Acast. Acast.com/advertise.